Hey, I'm Mike, and today we're going to be looking at the Blueskysea A12 motorcycle cameras. So why are we looking at this? Well, obviously you have some interest in a dash camera. You probably would not have clicked on the thumbnail and the title. Now, when I was first approached about doing a review of this product, I was a little reluctant because I have GoPros and stuff, and I'm like, do I really need that? Do I want that? But the fact is, for me, putting GoPros on and turning them off and on and everything else is about work. It's about, making a video for YouTube and stuff. And I don't turn them on a lot, especially if we're doing a ride that, I'm not sure I want to put on YouTube. Because especially if it's just me and my girlfriend, Firecracker on two wheels, it can take away from the enjoyment of the ride if we got to worry about recording and cameras and things like that. These should be, I assume, like a regular dash cam that overwrites the file over time and things like that. So we're going to find out how these work, how good they are. If you've been following the channel for a while, you'll know just a little over a year ago, we were out riding and Firecracker was on her own bike and she was behind me. She went off the road and wrecked. Now I had the GoPros on and we caught it and we did a whole video about that. You can check that out up here. But because of that situation, I can see why someone who doesn't want to do YouTube and doesn't care about having GoPros might still be interested in this product. Here's what I know about these without taking them out of the box. It's IP67 waterproof rated. It records at 1080p with 30 frames per second, which is fine for normal stuff. You don't need more than 30 frames per second unless you're trying to slow the video down, like do a slow motion thing and stuff. And you don't need higher than 1080p unless you're trying to really produce high quality stuff. All my videos I do at 1080p and nobody complains. This is hardwired in. We'll see how, if it's USB or if it's got to be tied to the battery tender. We'll figure that out as we go through. Max memory card of 128 meg. Now I can tell you from my GoPro, 128 meg will record for like 12 hours with my GoPro 7 or more. I'm not sure that I've ever maxed it out in a day, but with two cameras, hopefully we're looking at 6 hours or more. We'll see. And this has a really wide angle, 150 degree field of view, which might not be great for something like YouTube, but if you're trying to catch where someone's coming in from the side and runs into an intersection or something like that, then that really wide angle field of view would be great for that kind of stuff. So we're gonna see how all that looks once we're done, and I'll tell you what I think about them. Let's get this thing out of the box and start getting it installed. Comes with the 32 meg SD card, instruction booklet. First language is, I would say, Japanese. Hopefully here we go. Jump right to the back to get to the English. Quick start guide, list all the products that are in here. So this is our LCD screen. I'm not sure how I'm going to mount that just yet. And I would say this is my thumb controls or hand controls for record, audio, stop and start kind of stuff or something. These look like these are the cameras, a front and rear, green and blue. I'm sure there's extension lines to put these wherever. See how we got some different mounts here, including a sticky mount for GPS, so it'll track GPS as you go. Does this thing work as a GPS unit also? That would be interesting. And then the wiring harnesses. So we're going to cut here while I read the instructions, and we'll come back when we get the install started.
A few minutes later.
Hey guys, I'm a little hot and sweaty, but I'm done. It took me about an hour and a half. What I can tell you is I'm not going to show you everything I did to mount it on my bike, because this is a universal system. You can mount it on different bikes, different ways. The way you route the cables will be different, things like that. I'll show you some basics, what I did on my Street Glide. Now, this comes with a wiring harness to wire it into your battery and like tap into your brake lights, so it only comes on when the bike has power, that kind of thing. So it's not drawing off the battery all the time. It also comes with an adapter plug, a little pigtail where you can run into USB. That's what I've done. I'm demoing this unit. I'm probably not keeping this unit, but maybe I will. We'll see. But for now, for demoing it, I didn't want to mount it permanently. So nothing I did is permanent. I'll show you some of the stuff I did. Here's the front camera mounted on the front fairing. And I used one of the windshield bolts to secure it and then just ran the cable through the vent on my Mount Rushmore. Now, if your Street Glide fairing does not have a vent, you can't do that unless you want to tape the camera down and run it around the outside or run it through the fairing or drill a hole or some other shit. But anyway, that's not what I chose to do. If I was probably mounting it on my Street Glide permanently, I would look at mounting it underneath the headlight somewhere down there and running the cables up through the fairing and back to the controls. The rear camera on mine, I zip tied it up to the bottom of the luggage rack, which is where I usually mount my GoPro. It's not super secure, but I think it'll be okay. We'll see how the vibration is when we get going down the road. Front camera seems to be pretty solid. I didn't tuck all the cables in and run them really nice and neat. If I was going to do this on a more permanent basis, I would probably pull the fairing off, hide as much of the wiring back there as I could, something like that. On this bike, what I did, because I mounted it near the USB plug that I have in the cigarette lighter plug, is I just kept all the extra cabling, black taped it, electrical taped it up to the handlebars and things like that, kind of out of the way, wrapped it around the handlebars to take up some of the slack. So that's how it's mounted for now. When I turn the bike on, the unit comes on because there's no power to the cigarette lighter plug until you turn the bike on. So I don't have to worry about it running the battery down while I'm testing this thing also. I said something earlier about having GPS. It doesn't have like a GPS navigation system, but it apparently does do GPS to track your speed. So I guess if you don't have a speedometer, this is a digital solution maybe. I just mounted the GPS antenna on top of the fairing with black tape for now and kept the extra wiring all bundled up there, right there, all close together. It looks a little messy right now because there's a bunch of wires there and they're not hid, but like I said, I'm just demoing it for the moment. Now these are the instruction guides. And when you open it up, you get Japanese to begin with, not English. And then near the back here, we have the English instructions. Some of the pictures from the other language helped me figure out the handlebar mount. That ideogram picture was not into the English section. So something to bear in mind, you just kind of, if you're not mechanically inclined at all, then you probably want to get a friend to help you with this. Now, in my case, I had to pull the seat and the console on the tank, and that's where I ran the cable to go to the rear. Everything else is up by the front, and like I said, I didn't go to a lot of work to hide the cables for now. So it wasn't that bad for me. But I'm not sure it couldn't have been faster if I was doing it the right way, as trying to figure out where to do it and trying to, tape things on and things like that rather than just peeling the 3M sticky and sticking it. But anyway, we're going to take this thing out and do a test ride and see how it looks. Here's a segment of going through the controls, setting the date and time, things like that. You can turn off some features on the display, like whether you want the GPS miles per hour on the display or not. So the display does have multiple modes to cycle through to see the cameras both at the same time, either side by side or one in the corner, and or you can be just on the front or just on the back.
3 days later.
All right, guys, I just got back in from a nice 75-mile ride at lunch with Firecracker, and we're going to finish this video up and let you know what I think about these dash cams for the motorcycle. So after using this unit for 200 miles, I think I can give you a fair review. This does do loop recording, and it creates one new MOV file every 1 minute. The reason for the 1 minute file is because if something gets corrupted or you crash, the files are already saved and less likely to become corrupt or lost. I was able to get about 150 miles or just under 3 hours per camera on a 32 gig SD card. That's what they send with the unit. Now, I'd say you'll get about 11 plus hours if you were to upgrade to a 128 meg card, and that's for front and rear camera. Here's a clip from the front camera, and no, it's not GoPro quality, but it's still good, and the image is much better than some of the cheap knockoff GoPros I've tested. I like the speed and location data that is recorded to the file and displayed in the image. I know when I'm riding, I like to have a clear, unobstructed view of the road, and I do not like to be behind a large vehicle that blocks my view, especially one that has a trailer that could throw debris up from in front that you have no idea what's coming, or that something might come off of that trailer and strike you. Here's a clip of me passing a truck that had been doing just under the speed limit. When we finally got to a safe passing zone, he decided not to move over. And when I went to pass him, he decided to step on it and try and keep me from passing. Don't be this jerk. After we passed and slowed back down, we still pulled away from him. It wasn't that he suddenly got in a hurry, he just didn't want anybody else passing him. Having a system like this on a bike is easy to document what was going on should it turn into an altercation or an accident. Here's a clip from me riding at night. We caught a deer crossing the road about 3 seconds in front of us. Luckily, I was only going 25 miles an hour and I had plenty of time to react. You may have noted there is a second deer that reversed course and did not cross in front of us. Another great reason to have a super bright LED headlight. The rear camera does a pretty good job when you're in an urban area with street lights, but does not show much when you're riding with no other lighting around except for the tail light. You can download free software called GX Player, and with that you're able to import files into the player, and not only will it play the file, it displays a map which shows your location based on the GPS along with your speed and direction. I was actually pretty impressed with this, and it's pretty neat for free software. Now before I tell you my final thoughts on this unit, I want you to know this unit runs about $170 normal. But right now there's a $15 coupon available, and I have a special code in the description down below where you can get 10% off of this through the end of July 2021. That should bring the total price down to about $140 right now on Amazon. So for $140, I think this is a great buy. The product works as advertised, seems to be well constructed, and the camera quality was actually better than I expected. I have seen incidents where motorcycles crashed and someone did not survive, and there was nobody left to explain what happened or why that person ran off the road. We don't know if a deer or animal caused it or if a vehicle ran them off the road. When something like that happens, law enforcement usually writes it up as rider error because there's nobody to tell the other side of the story. This system would be great for those scenarios to help people understand what truly happened and why an accident occurred, even when there's nobody left to tell the story. I hope you find this review helpful. If so, please give it a thumbs up. Maybe share it out with someone you know that might be interested in this system. If you do that YouTube thing, check out the content on my channel. And if you dig it, hit that subscribe button down below. Don't forget to ring that bell to be notified the next time I drop a new video. And as always, thank you for your support. Stay safe and keep on riding.